They're in 3-beat weaves. They're in thread the needle. They've been there all along, whether you knew it or not. So there's a secret buried in many of the most popular poi tricks, and this came up recently during a private lesson that I was teaching, and I thought I would share it with all of you. Drex here from Drex Factor Poi, sharing with you the love of poi spinning and flow arts to benefit your body and brain. And today, I want to delve into one of those great secrets of the poi world that I don't think we talk nearly often enough about. But before we dive in, I just want to give a quick shout out to the friends of the channel. Big thanks to Dark Monk, Fire Mecca, Flow Fests, Flow Toys, Juggling Calling, Pyroterra Light Toys, Spinballs, and Ultrapoi for helping to make the videos on this channel possible. You can learn more about all of these awesome companies and the work that they're doing to support flow artists like yourself by checking out the links that I have down in the description of this video. And special thanks to the non-business friends of the channel, Liene Verzemnieks and Pekha Pekkonen. Thank you both so much for supporting my channel, my work, and my mission. All right, so in order to show you what this great secret is, I'm gonna have to set up my home studio here. So give me just 1 second to do that. Now, I had a student a couple days ago who was really struggling to learn how to do a reverse 3-beat weave. This is not unusual at all. A lot of us, even if we've learned how to do a forwards 3-beat weave, will still sometimes struggle with taking those same instructions and making them work in reverse. Not the least of which because when we switch into doing it reverse, the poi is always coming back at our face as we're moving the poi around here. And that can feel a little bit scary. So the sticking point in the lesson was this. I was trying to get this student comfortable with performing a reverse 2-beat or tic-tac, that is, moving the poi back and forth from right to left with the poi swinging in reverse direction. That is, going away from her on the bottom and coming back towards her at the top. Now, whenever she would get the poi spinning reverse and try to swap which side of her body it was on, this would happen. Instead of switching the poi back and forth across the front side of her, she would reach back behind her because this involved spinning the poi in such a way that it felt like it was going forward, and that felt natural to her body. So what was going wrong here was not actually that she wasn't performing a 2-beat, it's that she was performing a 2-beat in the wrong direction. But wait, what do I mean by direction here? So to understand what was going wrong here, I want us to look at a concept called a cross point. So what exactly is a cross point? I'm so glad you asked. Look how I am moving the poi back and forth from the left to the right side of my body. There's a point at which those two planes basically collide out in front of me as I'm bending the poi back and forth between them. If I turn up the trails for a moment, you'll see that they're tracing out kind of an X shape directly in front of me. We call this a cross point. Pretty cool, huh? Let me show you some more examples of them in action. See, when we perform a 2-beat with both hands involved, we're actually creating cross points for both of our hands. The poi are just going through them at different points in time. If I turn on the trails once again, you'll see that I have 2 cross points directly in front of me. They're pretty close, but not in exactly the same spot. And here's another great example. Did you know that windmills and corkscrews are both technically 2-beat weaves in themselves? So check it out. If I perform a windmill, I'm basically doing a 2-beat weave that is happening in wall plane instead of wheel plane. That cross point is actually hidden directly above my head. Want me to prove it? Cool. I'll go ahead and bend over with this trick, taking it into a horizontal plane. See those cross points now? And what a coincidence. Now I've also just transformed the move into a corkscrew. How about that? And there's a ton of other cross points hidden in other poi tricks too. For instance, did you know there's actually 2 cross points hidden inside of a 3-beat weave? Let me show you. So the really obvious one, of course, is the one that goes directly out in front of us that looks just like what we're used to seeing in a 2-beat, right? But when we switch to a 3-beat weave, we're performing, well, a total of 3 beats. So where would that extra cross point be located? Well, it's a lot easier to spot if I take one of my hands out of the equation. Now, do you see how I'm performing 2 beats over on my left-hand side and only 1 beat over on my right? Well, the movement back and forth between my left and my right side is the cross point that we're used to seeing, but something else is happening when I perform this other beat over on my left side. And in fact, if I really exaggerate the movement out to either side, you'll see that another cross point emerges right next to my left shoulder. This is actually happening with both hands at the same time, where if I perform the full 3-beat weave, I wind up performing cross points both in front of and over over past my right shoulder with my left hand, and cross points out in front of me as well as next to my left shoulder with my right hand. Wild, huh? And believe it or not, we're actually also using cross points in moves like thread the needle. They may not be as dramatic as the cross points that we see in, say, a 3-beat weave or corkscrew, but they're definitely there nonetheless. We can think of a thread the needle as being moments when we're pushing our hands in poi back and forth across two parallel planes that are both in wall plane directly in front of us. When we think of it through this lens, we'll start to notice that a cross point emerges as we move our hands back and forth. They both happen to pass through this cross point. So wait a second then. Could we say that cross points are in play anytime the poi cross back and forth across our body, or indeed anytime they cross back and forth across each other? Why, yes. In fact, we could. I just blew your mind, right? And that's why I think it's actually kind of important to drill cross points as their own discrete concept. So this is actually a drill I really love giving to my beginner poi students. Here's how it works. You're going to start off just performing a tic-tac, going back and forth from right to left side and back again across your body in wheel plane. And notice that in doing that, I'm pointing that cross point directly out away from myself, yeah? Cool. Now we're going to go ahead and extend our arm far away from ourselves, as far as it'll go. And that's actually going to shrink the two planes to being almost right next to each other on either side of our arm. If we wanted to, we could maybe experiment with broadening how far those planes are to either side. And in so doing, make the cross point a little bit more obvious. But for right now, just having them work inside of this more narrow range is going to be just fine for us. The reason being, the next thing I want us to do is I want us to bend our elbow and aim the cross point directly above ourselves. The trick here is we're taking this same orientation where we're kind of pointing our hand out away, and that points the direction of the cross point, and moving it in a slightly different direction. So we get to go back and forth between having the cross point in front of us and directly above us. We want to repeat this same exercise, but out in wall plane, going back and forth in front of and behind us with the poi, extending our arms straight out, and then bending our elbow to point the cross point directly up above ourselves. When we perform this exercise, what we're really learning how to do is decide whether we're going to keep our planes in wheel and aim that cross point out away from ourselves, straight up, or taking either of these cross points over here into wall plane directly above ourselves, or straight out to the side. It's our choice. Awesome. So I hope that I have managed to convey some of the awesome potential there is inside of learning how to direct your cross points in different directions and the ways that that can be useful throughout your poi journey. So if these exercises helped you out or you know of any other ones, please leave me a message and let me know. Did you get anything out of this video? Please leave a like, comment, share, and subscribe to help other people find it and to help my channel grow. This video would not be possible were it not for the kind support of all of these awesome people right here. These are my Flow patrons over on Patreon. They and the people listed down in the description help to make this video and all the videos on this channel possible. Thank you one and all for your very generous support. And if you out there watching are not currently a supporter but you'd like to become one, you can do so by heading on over to patreon.com/DrexFactorPoi and signing up. There, you can get access to a whole host of awesome rewards, and even better than that, you'll be helping me out in my mission to bring poi spinning and flow arts to the whole wide world. So, go check that out, please and thank you. And if you'd like to check out some of my other beginner poi lessons, I will include a link to a playlist of them down in the description, as well as up here on the screen if you're watching on YouTube. Also, YouTube thinks that you might like this top video here because it's been popular amongst other viewers of my channel, so maybe give that a look as well. Thanks so much for watching. Make sure to get out and flow today, and I'll see you with a new video real soon. Peace.